agenda.
I don't approve.
I don't either.
Totally logical plan.
Any other additions?
Anything you want to add to this?
No. Wish I could delete some of
I'd
it.
make a motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion to approve the agenda. And support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. March 22, 2022 minutes.
I would make a motion to approve those minutes, trying to like have added between the, no vote for me on the office manager position in the engineer's office, and the motion carried. I would make a motion to include the language as offered was not consistent with previously approved recommendation of the board.
Understand that?
No, I don't understand.
By the office manager. You want to explain that again, because the previous meeting that you make a recommendation that there be an offset in wages if they didn't reside in the county, correct?
Right, so on the minutes on this one where it says name Andy Booth, I would just like it to then read, as offered was not consistent with previously approved recommendation of the board,
Yes, it was.
and then it would say motion carried, or with, I don't know what you have the wording passed or carried.
But that recommendation never passed, so it wasn't a recommendation of the board.
I think it did.
It did pass.
Did it?
Mhm,
To
3
reduce the
2.
salary?
But the recommendation.
That was a recommendation. The residency.
That's why I have that wording.
Not the pay.
Got that?
Yep, I think.
Is everybody okay with that? Yeah? No?
Because it wasn't the pay thing you guys discussed, it was the residency thing. You thought preference should have been given to residency. It wasn't, yeah, it wasn't a you can't reduce pay for an equal opportunity employer. I'd be against the old, fair employment rules. So I don't think that's what you guys did, but.
Do you know how that read? Rochelle, I hate to,
I can go
I'm a
get
little
it.
confused too.
I can go get it.
I thought it was residency, but not pay, but maybe I misunderstood the motion, so.
But we can't adjust for pay.
No. I had that in the ad. Same with the residency requirement.
I wanna see how it was stated.
I don't know if you need that in there. It wasn't made with the motion, so I don't know if I have that in the minutes.
Good morning.
Vandy Hook moves to give consideration to residency within the county when they are multiple qualified candidates. An offer to a candidate that will not be living in the county should be included a wage offset.
And it passed that way.
Yes. Vandy Hook, DeBoer, and Elmers, and nays Jones and Schulte.
That's why I wrote no.
So do you want that included or not?
No. So I'm not gonna,
I don't.
So somebody needs to.
I'm not gonna second that. It's the dice whack. Unless somebody else has a second, the dice whack.
Leroy, what's your thoughts?
I would say it should not be that way.
The dice for lack of a second.
So I guess it dies for a lack of a second, Jason.
Then make a motion to pass the minutes as written.
I have a carried. April schedule.
None?
How about the 12th and 26th? How does that move you?
Well, that's what you're telling me now.
I'm gonna try my hardest not to add anything to this, but.
2026 sounds good, with a, can I put on there, no extra meeting?
Probably not.
Well, I'll go with 2026.
Okay, a motion for the 12th and 26th, and support, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carried. Let's see, is it 8:35 yet?
50, according to...
All right, approve USDA grant for ambulance equipment, you got 5 minutes?
So, I'm back. Anyway, last July I contacted the USDA because, as you guys know, I wanted to get those Power Pro lift cots put into our ambulance. It's a total back saver. It's basically, it loads itself. They're very nice, and with the age and the, of our groups and, you know, the liability of hurting somebody. So anyway, I asked them if they could help us any way possible. They can give me 35% of my total purchase price, off my price. So I went ahead and did a pre-application for this grant. And then I came to the board in January and asked for money for these Power Pro lift cots, because with this grant, you have to pay for it. And then when you're approved, then they'll pay for the 35% of it. So just last week, I got my phone call that my application looks really good. However, we have to do a couple of things. One is that we have to fill out a resolution, correct? It has to be in the mail it has to be in the paper for 10 days before you guys sign it. The resolution is asking for 2 signatures on the USDA grant, like maybe myself and then a board member to sign for the purchase of those. And then, of course, then there's a couple of other loops. Obviously they want me to get a couple of bids. Right now we have striker cots in all of our ambulances, and we did that for a reason, is because if we have a mass casualty incident or something happens, my cot or the cot from May City will fit in Sibley and vice versa. So it doesn't matter what. But also by having these Power Pro lift cots, these ambulances start moving around. When we start updating them, then the cot stays with that ambulance. So eventually we're able to get these Power Pro lift cots into the other different towns. I asked for 2 of them. One would go into Sibley's rig, and then one would go into Ashland, because right now they're able to transport it back. So that's the highs and the lows of it. The total cost of the cot is $64,600. And then they would pay 35% of that, which is a little over $22,000.
That's for both of them, right? 64,000 for both of them.
Yes, that is correct. So I guess what I'm asking today is if you guys would be willing to sign a resolution and pick somebody else out to authorize to sign for this grant. And then if you do decide we have, like I said, 10 days, and then after that, which looks like it might be the 12th, no.
No, because 10 days, they can't get into the paper until next week, the 6th.
Oh.
And that's the 12th is not 10 days. It's going to have to be the 26th,
So the
which is
26th.
doable.
Okay.
The 26th
yeah.
is doable.
That'd be fine. And then it has to be signed on the 26th, then too. If you guys choose to do it.
purchased this year then? Part of the cost we purchased this year then?
Right.
So we'll have to do a budget amendment, or we're doing a budget amendment anyway.
Well, yeah, because
Do
yeah,
that.
it goes through that. But, again, you know, the USDA, that takes a while.
You had it in your budget for next year though too, didn't you?
Yeah, I do have it budgeted.
For next year, July 1,
Well,
but
July
then for
1,
this
but
fiscal year, you don't.
yeah, like I said, you know, who knows what happens.
So would you take it out of your next budget then?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would take it out of this year's
You
budget.
would.
I would take it out, you're right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I'd say do it.
Then you only add those onto the insurance then for those rigs for equipment.
Right, well, that too.
Like, see, we were
Yeah,
a
there.
little late in getting the other stuff added on for the equipment, those
Mhm.
rigs.
I'll have to add that onto our insurance policy too. Yep.
Do we need a motion for that then, or?
I think so.
Probably just to make it, it's authorizing her to apply for the grant.
Yeah, should allow me to apply for the grant.
We have a motion to,
Second.
and support. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Is that it, Sandy?
All right,
Thank you.
that is it for me.
Remind me that you and I need to talk about that resolution.
Yeah, we'll get that, and then the thing in the paper.
8:55, approve resolution number 30, compensation schedule for elected officials. Guys' thoughts?
Agreed to it once.
Motion for that.
I looked at the minutes from last time, I made way too many motions.
So, I'll make.
Thank you, Ed, thank you. There's a motion to approve resolution number 30, fiscal year 2021.
I'll support that motion.
Okay, motion and support. Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Vadio?
Aye.
Mr. Schulte?
Aye.
Mr. DeBoer?
Aye.
Mr. Helmut, both sides. Motion carried. You got one for me to sign, or you want me to sign this one?
I have one from this time.
That's it. Motion to sign? Yeah, it's 8:59. 9 o'clock, public hearing, open public hearing for fiscal year 22-23 county budgets. Any comments?
I received none.
Any comments from the board?
No.
It is closed. Is that a motion, Ed?
Yeah.
Have a motion to close the public hearing
Second.
and support. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Approve resolution number 31, 21-22, adoption of Osceola County fiscal year 22-23 budget and tax levies. We have a motion to approve resolution number 31
Support.
and support. Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Schulte?
Aye.
Mr. Vadio?
Nay.
Nay. Mr. DeBoer?
Aye.
Mr. Helmut? Aye. Motion carried. Was that part of the same thing, Michelle, approve?
Well, we just had to make sure we did it after the budget hearing, so that's why I put it where it did.
Yeah.
I wasn't
So
sure.
we can go back up top, we just have to be
What do you wanna put?
Yeah, we can go back to the top.
Yeah, we just had to make sure it was approved after the public hearing.
Or should, is that what you
Wanna
want to
just,
do?
that's what you're here for?
That, and then we have the professional engineering
Works.
services with WHS.
Okay, we'll move back to the top. Approve professional services agreement with WHAS.
So this is for your bridge safety inspections, that's required by federal highway. Currently, we're in a contract with them now. They did some extra engineering work, so kind of retrofitted that bridge over there in Harrison Township, north of the O'Brien County line, just east of M18, L16. But in 2020, you approved about $46,400, but you were only invoiced about $35,867.50. So this agreement is for $47,900, but it will be based on actual, it won't exceed that, so you might end up paying less like you did in 2020. So, like I said, this is the bridge safety inspections that are required by federal highway, and then if you decide you want to retrofit a bridge, you've got some structural engineering firm that can work with you like you're doing now to relook at a bridge. What can you do to keep it in service? And was L16 posted before you guys began?
Yes.
Okay, so L16 was posted, and so now once they retrofit it, it will no longer be posted.
Correct.
So, good firm to work with. We went and looked at a bridge that's in the 5-year, that doesn't qualify for HPP funds, which is your federal funds for gas tax funds for bridge replacements. But we met with them, Roger and I, and then one of their, Casey Favor, one of their employees, and on the new inspection cycle, I think that bridge will actually, you gotta meet some criteria, and I think it will meet that. They'll do their safe inspection, and then it will qualify in the near future. So we have that bridge in the 5-year plan, which will be before the board on April 12th. I think it's your next board meeting in April, so.
This is something we do every year, don't we?
Yeah, so, but you have to renew the proposal for services agreement, so, I just wanted to, this was due out before, but.
We have a motion to approve the professional service agreement with WHAS. And support. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Okay, so I just asked that the board chair sign the agreement.
Okay.
So, do you have that, Michelle?
Can we do that right now, or are we gonna wait?
Thank you.
Okay, discuss approve engineer employee, review approve amended 2080 agreement with Clay County for engineering services.
That's in the extension of Oakville County Sheriff.
May 15th.
Yeah. Clay County just wanted to
That's so they can keep William Mullen.
keep you on for another.
Yeah, and if you need less than that, I mean, you could do a month or less, you know, if the new guys are gonna start, before what do you have in there, the 15th of May?
Yeah.
So if you need less time, I mean, I think that'd be a problem if you want to put wording in there that way, you know, if he starts, it won't be done then.
When is he intending on starting?
25th is what they're,
Of
and
this
it's
month?
of April.
Of April? What's your guys' thoughts? Want to change it or want to leave it?
Well, the original agreement states we gotta give it 30 days, so I don't know if you can change that on the amendment.
Probably have to stay with 30 days,
Okay.
if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'm flexible, whatever you
I
guys
mean, if
decide.
you don't wanna come over that,
I just leave
once he's here.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you guys. Once he gets here, I don't think there's gonna be a problem with Lake County Board. You guys say, you know what, he's here, let's just terminate this. You know, I don't see a problem with that, I don't have a problem with that, that's up to you guys.
second.
We have a motion and second to approve amended 2080 agreement with Clay County for engineering services. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign, motion carried. Discuss, approve,
Shall we do the DOT?
Oh, yeah.
okay, approve the Iowa DOT secondary road budget.
Again, this is basically based off of, it's a reporting form we have to do to the DOT. It's based off the county budget. That's why we kind of need the county budget approved first. And then, the DOT, we need to report that to them because you're getting all the, state gas tax dollars from the state. And so basically, it's pulling numbers off of the county budget to fill out. And then the other thing that will come before the board will be April 12th. There's a 5-year construction program that, the DOT made some changes on March 15th, with this new federal money coming in with the new transportation bill. The state had a swap, process in place for locals, so we could swap out, they would swap out, federal funds and replace them with state funds. That is no longer going to exist for locals, so we had to go back in and revise a bunch of projects. That's why the 5-year construction program is not ready now. We should have it ready by April 12th, but all of this has to be submitted to the state by April 15th. So, so that'll be coming on April 12th, your 5-year construction program. Like I said, we had to make those changes because they're changing the swap process, so.
Any questions? If not, I will take a motion.
So,
I have a motion to approve the Iowa DOT secondary road budget. And support. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried.
I would just need the board chair's signature on that, and then Rochelle's signature, and then I'll have to sign it as well, so. So I'm going to send that down to Rochelle.
Yep.
All right. Anything else for us over here?
how much you got left in the old snow moving budget for this year?
For which county?
Well, for this one.
You know, you're
It
saving,
should be similar.
you're saving on cutting edges, which the price went up. And then, I did hear, this is gonna be coming, just so you prepare yourselves. The snowplow truck that, I think you have in the process, there's gonna be a surcharge. You know, you guys had the surcharge on the truck. We did in Clay County, because we bought some internationals. But stainless steel is getting harder to find and get, and so there's gonna be a surcharge on the box. So that'll be coming.
Really?
So any of the savings from your snow plowing when the fuel went up, so, you know, it's great we're not running the roads, but fuel costs have gone up, and I recall in '09 and '10, when fuel prices were high, you know, we had $4 a gallon gas, for gasoline. And that year, I spent in my budget $100,000 more just because the fuel went up, just because the price increased. Not because we used any more, and so you're getting costs, you know, increased costs for steel. Obviously, we're not using cutting edges as much. We're not running the roads, so we're saving some fuel, but anything we do have to buy, you know, you've got,
Twice as much.
10 to 15 to sometimes 20% price increase for material. So it's just, you know, I think any savings you're gonna see is inflation's gonna eat that up.
So you're saying we're gonna save anything?
Well, the verdict's still out. And we aren't through winter yet, you know, we had a little bit, we are still in March, and we've had some snow in April. I think, 2 or 3 years ago, I remember it was a big blizzard in April, and kinda caught us all, so.
Are they talking about a couple inches on Thursday? too?
Yeah, they're talking some snow this week, so we'll see, so.
We'll leave it.
He just covered his butt.
So, but anyway, so that's kind of where that sits, I guess, so, you know, we'll see what the rest of winter pans out, but.
So are we gonna have to make an amendment to that budget then for fuel? I don't know what you guys have figured in.
No, we're looking at that, I think we're okay on that, you know, like I said, we're not running the roads as much, plowing, so you're not using fuel, but the fuel you are buying is a little higher, so I think we'll be okay. The only thing that might catch us would be the drainage assessments that are coming in, because I think there was budgeted, and so we're gonna pay as what we can then, we're gonna look at the budget probably the middle of May, and if, and it's too late to do an amendment then, but there might be room to pay the rest of that assessment, and that wasn't anticipated, so that's probably the only thing that's. And if you don't pay it, there's like a $700 penalty, but is that worth, revising and doing a whole budget amendment for that? But we might have, so we're gonna look at that, so.
We're probably gonna have a budget amendment on the 26th of April,
Okay.
so,
So we can look at that as you get close to 26th and decide.
well, I'll need it next week, because I have to have it to the paper by next Friday, for the 26th, so
Okay.
we can look at that and.
Yeah, we'll look at it next week, Sarah, so.
You had nothing in there for that drainage assessment?
We did, but there was, I don't know what came up, they weren't gonna maybe assess and then decided to do so, so then the assessment went from, I think it was anticipated 15 to 20,000 to like 40,000. So, I don't know that
What were those assessments?
the data pulled,
9 and 43, that
That
drainage.
much?
so,
Okay.
yeah, so it's, and when they did the budget a year ago, maybe that wasn't the anticipation, but it is what it is now, so.
Okay. I think that's all we got, isn't it?
Thanks, guys.
Okay, Roger. Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Discuss approve engineer employment contract. Everybody got a chance to look at that?
Jack sent the email out for it, he just had a couple questions, the board has to decide when we're gonna pay on the 10,000 bonus, and then the moving expense, so he can relay that on to.
Normally, don't they pay that out over a couple different times?
And could,
But then he signed a 3-year contract.
yeah, so I mean, you break it out over, when we discussed it, I think we were talking like, the first 6 months, you'd get like half of that sign-on bonus, and then the next 6 months, you'd get the other half.
So when he initially starts, he would get like $5,000 and
After 6 months.
after 6
After
months, he
6
would get the
months,
first,
you would get the first
first 5,000, and
Yeah.
then,
And
so then the first year,
Yeah.
he would get the other
Yeah,
5.
most of the ones I've seen, it's all paid off in like 9 months.
Most of the ones I've seen, they make you stay at least a year to break that up, but it doesn't matter to me how you want to do it.
And then the moving expense too, we gotta discuss, can we get that to him right away, when he initially comes, or?
I think that would be right away when it comes.
To do half right away, that's what you're saying?
The moving expense, what was it, 3,000 we came up with?
Oh, yeah. Do
Yeah,
that,
pay
do
that.
that right away.
But the other part would be after 6 months, the bonus.
3,000
Yeah.
right away, 5,000 after 6 months, and 5,000 after a year.
I'm just, or after the next 6 months.
Yeah.
It's broke up into 6 months.
Thoughts, Jason?
I don't hear that very clearly. You were talking two $5,000 payments and what intervals?
At 6 months and at 12 months.
So a year then.
To me, that sounds more like a retention or if it's not sign on. I think at least half should be immediately upon starting the position, and then I'd think 6 months to the second half would be reasonable. I'd say all at the beginning or half the beginning and half the 6 months, but 6 months and a year doesn't really sound like a sign on bonus to me.
I agree with you, Jason.
So I do 5,000 up front, and then the other half after 6.
Yeah.
Okay, we revised that, Jason, do 5,000 right away and 5,000 after 6 months. I don't know if you heard all that or not, but
That sounds fine.
They say fuck casualties.
So that's fine.
and then the $3,000 moving expenses right away.
Yep.
That's yours.
Regardless of receipts or shown expense or,
I actually thought about that too, but
I'm sure it's gonna be over $3,000.
Yeah.
I mean,
With Aaron, we gave him so much money, and then if he moved himself or hired somebody,
I'd be shocked if he got it done for 3.
he might if he does it himself.
you don't know what he's got up here. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
tell him down there.
And that's fine.
Yeah, I don't care how it does.
We have it in the contract.
I know.
3,000.
Yeah, I know you gotta pay the 3,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's his regardless, just like Kevin with Aaron. However you choose to move,
So what
that's
do you
your
guys'
budget.
thoughts, like, so
So
Jason,
what we done with it?
right away?
Yeah.
I'd say pay it right away.
Right away, with probably no receipts, Jason, that's what we're talking, if you can hear all that.
Okay, I guess I'd like to have some sort of receipt, even if he just acknowledges that he took on the expense himself, but just from an audit standpoint, I think it'd probably be good to show how it was expended, but
I think,
just a thought.
I think Dave will tell you how to do it, won't he?
Yeah, I didn't ask him on that. I can't remember what we did with Aaron. I don't know if he had to provide proof or not.
No, 'cause I remember he bought a whole bunch of totes and did it all himself.
But he wasn't moving quite as far as we
And with fuel prices,
Yeah.
oh, if you're filling up a truck to move,
Okay, what you guys' wishes,
I'd say pay him the 3,000 and pay him 5,000 and another 5 in 6 months.
Yep.
with no receipts, just.
I don't know why you need it, 'cause that's
Okay,
his,
I'm just,
it's his budget that we agreed to give him for moving, whether he uses it at all or doesn't use it all. There's no way you're getting moved here for $1,000, but.
do we, does that just have discussion, or do we need to make that a motion?
Probably making a motion to make it
Is that the only
official.
thing that Jack had?
Yeah,
So
that's
that
my
is
clarification.
Yeah. That's the only thing, plus agreeing to the contract that he signed.
All right, now we need a motion to approve the contract with that, those two additions, right?
Do you want it in the minutes with no receipts and for moving expense, or?
I don't think we did with Aaron. I really don't.
I'll leave that up to the bookkeeper.
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
Okay, state your motion so Jason can hear.
Pay the 3,000 up front, 5,000 up front, 5,000 in 6 months, and no receipts.
And approve the rest of this contract.
Yeah, and approve the rest of the
Did you
contract.
catch all that, Jason?
Yeah, I think so.
See, you think so?
I think so.
Okay, that's what he said. We have a motion,
Support.
and we have a motion and a support to accept the contract with those changes, or those, agreements.
Defining timelines. There you go.
What's that?
Defining timelines.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Alright,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And then Gary signs on top, and the rest of the board members have to sign up. Please.
Please?
Since he asked so nice.
I don't know if that was so nice.
Well, we get her to say please, that's pretty nice. Right, Michelle?
I try to have my hand.
Okay, let's see. Review sanitary applicants. Was Steve here?
Yeah,
Coming in,
he was
coming.
stopped.
Oh.
He was
Sick.
fine.
I had that one email yesterday that I sent out to everybody, but she's not, as of this morning, on the board, I didn't have an application for her. I sent her one, so I don't know.
Is he, should I see if he's around?
Yeah, so he was.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, 'cause he was gonna be here for the 9:30 discussion as well.
Oh, okay, DNR. My interest is nice and dry.
I think the state raised and, the discussion for the health meeting last week, I hope that we could include your representative board of
or anything? or-
I had the person call me late also. If it's the same person, don't matter if it is or not. One of the things at the time, just for future, this person commented that she couldn't apply online, and that's the route we're now going nowadays. So, I don't care what department it is, but, and to be fair, she probably should have made talk of it a little earlier, but at the same token, she did make that comment that she couldn't apply online.
I did scan her an application
Yeah.
as soon as I got the email yesterday for her to.
But just for future reference. All right, is anybody else coming yet or not?
I think we had those applications, I thought we had them on the website.
They're on the website, they're just not fillable, I think you have to print them out.
Oh, they're not fillable, gotcha.
That's what she's getting.
I thought we had them on there, but.
The one thing I would say, I am getting more and more interest, your brother being one, of doing the grants program.
Oh, yeah, about that, yeah.
So I do think it is imperative that somebody either takes the job over, or you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna handle it, because everything's gotta be signed off by the county sanitarian.
Yeah, because if we don't have somebody by that time, we can still do a 2080 agreement with them.
They're already there.
We already have one?
Yeah, it's been there for years. I
With who?
found that out.
With who?
One's O'Brien County, it might be a few
Really?
more in there, you could go over to Deb, she looked it up for me.
Huh, well, since it's already in place, I guess. Hey,
No, because I've gone to O'Brien County to do an inspection.
okay.
But the one thing I would do is to make sure that the other counties are participating in this program and that person is willing to sign off on that program. It's one thing to sign off on,
Time of transfer and that stuff.
yes, and do an inspection, but it's quite another, because this is a different program again, and it's through the Iowa Finance Authority.
Do other counties have full-time sanitarians?
Okay, here's how.
It's all over the map.
Yes,
Only
it
the
is.
DNR.
Right. Dickinson County. You can classify them full-time, but they're also planning and zoning. And there's 2 people in that office. O'Brien County, from what I understand, is 1.
Is he full-time or part-time?
Well, I don't know how many hours he puts in.
He's kind of whenever you can get a hold of him.
Because
Not much different than here.
I think he's got more hours in though. When I talk to him, he's gonna put more hours in. One, O'Brien County's bigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second is one of the things that I haven't pushed, which he pushes more down there, is private well testing. And that can keep you hopping. And I think they do more of that down there. He pushes Ray down through his office down there. So he can spend more time. I talked to him the other day in Lyon County, theirs runs through Melissa Stilson, which is their environmental health person. So he runs underneath her office. And then Sioux County, that runs underneath the engineering office. Doug Julius did it all the time. He was their well closure guy, he was their septic guy. How much he directly was involved, I don't know, but he had the titles. But they also had more people on staff in his office too. If he couldn't make it, I'm sure he sent them out. And I think they do have a full-time planning and zoning. So I agree with you, it's all over the map.
How much time, Steve, does it really take for Osceola County for your job?
Okay,
I think
previous to this loan,
Yeah, and
previous to this loan program, I would say, if you're gonna do it justice, maybe 15 to 20 hours. I don't know how you quantify getting phone calls.
Well, like for
A
last,
week, a month?
A month. But I don't know how you quantify getting
No,
phone calls,
I
you
get
know
it.
what I'm saying?
I get it, yeah.
well, 'cause like for 2020, these are the
Right, I gave you the
stuff that
information.
Steve gave us for the information, but he had 34 septic permits, 3 time of transfer reports, and 21 well closings. For 21, he had 24 septic permits, 6 time of transfer reports, and 8 well closures. So I mean, it's not a huge amount of.
But a lot of it depends
There's a lot of
what's going on now, and you dealing with real estate,
Yeah.
you know that you got the ebb and flow of real estate, well, that affects the time of
Yeah.
my office also. Because I get more and more calls, do you have a drawing, do you have the previous permit, do you have a permit number for something that, are you aware of how that works, Jerry, or not? For somebody calls, if you put in a new septic system 3 years ago at your place, but you wanted to sell it now, that has to be all inspected.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where what's been coming down. If I threw you my phone now and show you the phone calls I got on it for the past 2-3 weeks, you'd be surprised how many. I got, especially now with this loan program, because I got more and more people. I think some were hesitant at first, but more and more are starting to call.
And then, like, if you buy an acreage and the septic system is gonna be replaced, or it doesn't pass, then you gotta get a waiver. Otherwise, you can't file.
Yeah, for the time of
the
year,
rest of that.
if it's the time of year.
'Cause I just had one I did last week in O'Brien, and it was, they gave us a waiver
To be done by a certain time.
to be done by a
And
certain
a certain amount of my time, not all the time, but a certain amount of my time has been in follow-up.
Yep.
I appreciate over the years that the board adopted an ordinance that if they fail to meet chapter 69, which includes the variances, they could be fined $250 a day. Well, I don't wanna do that, but I do spend time, when it's like 3 months out, 2.5 months, I'll call, hey, remember, you signed this agreement, and I'll call again. Then I'll write a letter. And if I don't hear again, then I brought it to Nolan, which I've done, I think, 3 times for sure. That takes time.
Yeah, 'cause I know I've had somebody that have dragged past their deadlines over the years, where they didn't meet the time.
Okay, here's one more question for you, Steve.
Okay,
And don't be offended by this.
no,
But it seems like we always have to pay more to get somebody.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Is it a job that it's gonna take us $1,000 a month? You know, I don't
think
want,
it could
don't be offended by
I think
this.
it could be, no, and I'm not offended, because
Yeah.
somebody asked me about, okay, for one, the starting wage, is this gonna be a couple $100 more than what I was making? And
Yeah.
that did offend me,
Yep.
because when I took the job, the money wasn't the issue for me. I wanted something to do, and I've enjoyed the 8 years. It's gone by fast when I looked it up. But it's time for it to get younger due to the technology, and the state don't help that side of things.
I've had
So,
several people say to me, well, I ain't gonna do her name worth it.
well, see,
You know?
and
I'm interested, but.
between you and me and the wall, I'm not so sure that's why somebody didn't turn it in.
Yeah.
In that, especially somebody else who, from another county, does my job, if that's all they think about, that kind of job. So, yeah, I agree with you, and to be fair, especially for the next year or two, for sure, it's gonna require more time than what it has, just because of that loan program.
Could we combine that?
You guys shot me down on making zoning with that, so we'd have to revisit that discussion.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, maybe we should.
Well, and I think I will tell you this straight up, Mike, one of the applicants, I'm not sure as of now initially, and I wouldn't in some ways, I wouldn't recommend combining right away, because I think
I would probably agree with you.
this job is gonna be a learning curve in and of itself. But maybe with the eye upon the future, with an understanding that we might have to, I get where, as a board.
Okay.
Other
I'm just thinking of taking that, turning it to, say, a half-time job.
Right.
We've gotta find something for them to do.
And it might on a different person, but I also say, even if you title it that way, I would leave this job, get their feet on the ground, and it
Yeah.
could take a year or two to get their feet on the
Because you
ground.
could have it be sanitarian / zoning assistant or something.
It is,
Nice.
Robbie, it is 9:30. We have a call, is that right, for the DNR?
How's it going today?
Good, other than I had to reschedule a bunch of stuff to be here.
I feel your pain.
What?
Said I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Blame Steve,
What?
blame Steve.
What was it, Dr. Custer's, I think they're,
Oh, yeah.
The sheriff to get him?
Yeah, that was,
In Sioux County?
yeah.
Well, she's got-
He had something he was on, and they threatened to go get
She already has.
have the sheriff.
The sheriff,
So I don't know where you're gonna get anybody
Yeah.
else that's gonna got 2 years of experience in installation. Whatever we can work out.
It's had to receive the sheet.
She called me a couple weeks ago when that came out.
So there's nobody showing up in person?
No, I don't think so.
You gotta be
So,
kidding.
I thought there was, that was my understanding.
They're not showing up in person?
Oh, are you kidding? No.
No, the
Oh,
state,
that was my understanding.
use your phone.
I was gonna say, if you can't show up in person.
Hello, can you hear me?
Exactly.
Yes, this is Eric at the DNR.
Hi, this is Rochelle calling from the Oswego County. We're the Board of Supervisors here, and Stephen Clyde, current sanitarian, and then Dan Berkland from the County Board of Health.
Come up, sit in the chair.
Okay. Great, well, I'll go ahead and get started. This is Eric Whitson, I'm with the DNR, I'm the NPDES program supervisor, and I supervise the on-site wastewater program. And I know also on the call we have Corey Frank, who's our on-site coordinator, Eric Day, who's the private well coordinator, Diane Anderson and Mindy Yule from Public Health, and Jason Van Hook, I think you're on the call too, right?
yes.
He's here, yeah, he is.
Okay. I reached out to Supervisor Jones, I guess a little over a week ago, I think it was. We had had some information come our way and some concerns about the posting for the sanitarian, if that was, really enough hours to cover the program. And when I talked to Supervisor Jones, he said that this was not something that they were doing different, this is something they'd done for quite some time. And we talked a little bit about availability and, the kind of minimum requirements of the role once you issue a permit, that you have to do a pre-site visit, a post-site visit. And so I think Supervisor Jones is gonna kind of gather some information as far as like how many, systems are installed in a year and what their process is and kind of how they manage that from day to day with, the way that they currently have the position staffed. So I would maybe turn it over to him.
Well, for 2020, we had 34 septic permits, 3 time of transfer reports, 21 well closings. For 2021, we had 24 septic permits, 6 time of transfer reports, and 8 well closings. So I mean, that's the workload of a county of 6,000 people.
Okay. And then, so how do you said that, the county sanitarian is kind of available on an on-call basis, so if somebody's putting the system in, how does that work as far as coordinating with installers and well closers?
I'll let the sanitarian answer that.
Okay, if somebody's gonna put in a septic system, they call me, I'm available anytime for call. My personal phone number is on the website.
Can you hear me?
Boy, I hate technology. us, maybe they'd like to come visit.
Yeah, tell them to get their asses up here.
That's how you really feel, yeah.
I will coach you on that.
Hold it down.
Eric, can you hear us? We got disconnected somehow.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
can you hear me?
we got disconnected
Yep.
just as,
Okay, I'm Steve, the current sanitarian, and basically, I am available at any time. They call me, we make arrangements for a pre-site. They call me, give me a heads up when they're gonna construct, and I go out. I've even gone out on a Saturday morning, 5 o'clock on Friday night. I feel, I've worked around, and with the DNR for over 30 years, and I feel like this job requires my attention, due to its environmental thing. So I want things installed properly. They can reach me anytime. My home phone is listed on the website, my personal cell phone's listed on the website. And I think if you would talk to any of our contractors within our county, which I generally have 6 to 8 contractors that I work with, they would tell you the same thing, that I'm out there, treat everybody the same, and it's about following the rules. So, I don't know the new person, I can't speak for them, but I've taken my job very seriously. When it's all said and done, they get a final construction approval. If you were here, I was gonna hand it to you, which gives them a permit number, and it states on there, the maintenance of the newly constructed system is a responsibility of the user. Maintenance should involve pumping the septic tank once every 3 years. Plus, they're also sent out a 4-page how to care for your septic system that was developed by the EPA. They are sent that. So I feel, I've been doing, that we try to cover as a county all bases, that everything is done properly, and that the homeowner is informed of what it takes to take care of a new system.
all right, thank you, I appreciate that report. I think those were from a on-site wastewater standpoint, I think those were our primary concerns, is just understanding the, the amount of, the availability of sanitary with sort of that on-call basis, and then the number of systems that are put in. Eric, with private wells, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I just based on the posting said that the sanitarian will be responsible for plugging wells and systems, and then just wanted to verify, like, Steve, you don't actually plug wells or cisterns yourself, correct? You just...
No, I sign off on them every...
counties and oversee the...
Right, I sign off on them, and then I record them as plugged for the Grants to Counties program.
And is it usually a contractor that's doing the work, or
A licensed
the homeowner doesn't do it and then you have to oversee it?
A licensed contractor does the work.
Okay.
That's the one thing in our county that I've only had one, but everybody who has a well comes to me. I said, you need a licensed contractor.
Okay.
So we do not, I strongly discourage the homeowner from doing it, because then they're gonna pay for my time being there. And,
Right.
no, it's all done. We have 2 licensed contractors in our county that plug wells, and I recommend refer either one of them to the property owner.
Okay. That's great, thank you. I just want, it just seemed like the language was misleading in the posting, so I just wanted to be sure that whoever's applying for the job for it, they don't actually plug wells or cisterns themselves. All right, well, thanks for clarifying that, Steve.
Okay, this I'm gonna throw back at the state. If you expect, like, this office to do the perk test, you need to provide training. You need to spec it out, that's what you want. The training I've taken with Dan Wheeler, it's more about the soils, which does relate to the perk test, I get that. But I've worked in the water and wastewater industry for over 30 years. You kind of know, and I talked to the other sanitarians within our region. I found out none of them do a perk test. So,
Right, and it is listed in chapter 69 as, a perk test or a soil analysis conducted by, and that's the language for who is considered a soil scientist is a little, I want to say.
well, the last time we had something, here's what went down. The contractor called Iowa State Extension, and their soil specialist walked him through everything. So, but I'm just saying, from what I've witnessed in the other counties, I'm not sure there's a consistency with the interpretation of that. And I was never trained on the perk test. That's been part of the, for even the new person coming in here. A lot of stuff is expected, but there's no training. When you start getting a smaller office such as Osceola County, you have one person. You get larger counties that got two people in the office, one can leave and still have an idea what's going on. If you're in a one-person operation, there's no handing down of the knowledge of that person that was previously employed. So, I do the best I can. I do care about the environment. My question for the state is, and might not like this, but is it more important for the paperwork, or is it more important for the environment for the state?
I mean, I'll answer that at least from my perspective. Like, specifically related to the question I asked you, I mean, that is it's not necessarily a paperwork thing, in my opinion, and really under chapter 69, or it's more of the science part of it, meaning to, if there are counties that are, or even in Osceola County, if you use just a soil survey book, or use the extension information to know what the soils are like in that particular spot on that particular parcel, that's fine, but what we also need to have done is the science performed. In other words, somehow need to be demonstrated that what's on paper is what is really going on there in verification, so that it protects, it's not just protects the environment, which that is ultimately the goal of water quality, but it also protects the county, protects the contractor, protects homeowners, whether they want to be protected or not, to know that the science was performed to be able to verify what type of system, or the amount of system, the amount of footage or lateral lines, whatever the system may be, is going to go in the ground. And I guess, going back to the, like I said, it's for soil analysis by someone of knowledge, and that's where it gets a little fuzzy or a little gray, is what verifies a person of knowledge, and that really is up to the county to determine, as a responsible party, local administrative authority, who, if that person is conducting it, whether it's, the contractor or another third party, if it's not the county. And I understand the position that you're in, being that the county, if that's something that can't be done, or don't have the capability to do that, I understand that, but still that authority lies with the Board of Health.
Can I say something? My experience don't count as knowledge, is what you're saying.
And hey, this is Dan Berkman from the Board of Health, and so you're disqualifying the soil maps that are out there?
No, that's not what I said.
Yes, it is what you said. I heard you say that. You talked about soil types. We have extensive soil mapping in the state. So you're saying, if according to your code, you can rely on that or you can't? And which I heard you say was you can rely on that versus the perk test. Is that right? Did I hear you right?
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
Well, I'm not arguing, I'm just asking what you just said.
Okay, what I said was that regardless, the science has to be verified, and the rules also require verification. In other words, you can have all the maps in the world, but things change. The maps, when those soil maps were created several years ago, things can change on a property, for example. So, that's why the code rules, the proper, I want to say best construction practice or best practices are that you can verify real verification by doing some type of test, whether it's soil analysis, by taking, physically examining the soil, or doing a percolation test. You still have to be a verification of what the restrictive layers are, or if there's a seasonal water table. All that has to be also done at the time when that site evaluation, however you want to call it, is required prior to permit being issued for a particular soil. So knowledge is good, I mean, that's all part of it, but there has to be verification.
May I say something? You're almost making it where, from my perspective, it's gonna be difficult to hire somebody in our county with the specification we want, so does the state want to take it over? I mean, my experience then counts nothing. I've been around soils and digging in soils for over 40 years. So I don't know what to tell you because we don't have access to people that quick to do percolation tests. The last time we had it, I talked to the person about it. They didn't even know where somebody was certified to do a perk test. I don't know. This is part of the reason I'm retiring, because the rules, when I went to Dan Olson, it was a lot simpler. I'll just put it that way.
Any other comments, questions?
Diane, Mindy, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to discuss today?
This is Mindy, and I was just sitting in case there were questions about the Grayson County program specifically. And this is Diane. I was just sitting in to see if there were any questions about the role and the authority of the Board of Health to hire the environmental health sanitarian as outlined in Chapter 137.
I have one more thing there, Dave, private wells. I do have one more thing I just want to ask so from the private wells, Osceola decided not to renew their 2080 agreement with the state for permitting of private wells. And as part of that, you all are supposed to send any records that you have, any hard copies of private well records to the DNR so that we can have those on hand. And also just want to be sure that, if anyone calls for a permit or anything, just refer them to me directly, and that's for any geothermal system that's installed or, of course, a water well, but,
Yeah, that will be done. I should state to you, I found out that we never did have a 28E agreement with the state on that, as far as I understood. So, that's the reason after you brought things up. But yes, if I do have anything, I'll go through my files. I will forward them to you.
okay, thanks, Steve.
Where do we go from here?
I just have a question, if nobody applies for the job, what do? Do we ask the state to come down? That might
That's a
choke
good
him.
question, I mean, that might be something that requires a little more thought, but, as far as I know, the responsibility of fulfilling those duties is to the Board of Public Health, and they would have to find some way to fulfill those. But I don't believe that the state could step in if there's a vacuum.
So where did we end up on this percolation discussion?
He talked in circles.
So, this is Ed Jones. On that, according to the code, that percolation test, or the soil test, it's not a, you have to do the percolation, so I don't know what your focus is on that.
If there's another phone ringing, in the background, it's really hard to hear.
Okay, I turned down the volume.
Sorry, there was a question, I didn't hear the question, it was really.
All right, so according to 69.9 here of the old code, for soil evaluation, it says a percolation test or professional soil analysis is required. So I don't know what the focus is on the percolation test. If you had the soil analysis done, that covers the requirement in the code.
Correct, there's like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't designate that one over the other, just that.
So then what is your hang up with this percolation test then?
I don't think I had a hang up with the percolation test, okay.
See, we're in compliance with everything here, so I don't understand your concern or input in it. Because let's look at Plymouth County for a minute. You know, Plymouth County is a population of 25,000 people. That office is open 1 day a week. Is that guy getting all his work done? I don't know why we're the focus of this discussion or why you decided to single us out. But.
No, so the reason that I reached out last week is the position had been forwarded to us.
Well, it's important to us as well.
Agreed. We'll agree on that point.
So this is just information gathering. Like I said, we don't know what we don't know until we ask some questions, and I believe those questions have been answered, and I think at this point I'm satisfied with what I need to know.
Okay. One of the things I would like to bring out is concerning biofilter type systems. One of the things that I have learned in Northwest Iowa here, I had our first system installed in our county, and I requested a maintenance agreement. And this guy has installed them in other counties up in this part of the state, and he told me I was the first one to ask for a maintenance agreement. So I would like the state to understand that we are trying to do our best to follow code and protect our environment.
I certainly understand that and appreciate that, definitely.
Yeah, I agree, I mean, in the Northwest Iowa is not accustomed to systems that require maintenance, and so I think there's a little bit of a learning curve going on with the contract.
Well, but even with,
also with counties.
yeah, even with suppliers, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we had a meeting up here, not in Osceola, but we had it in Emmitsburg, and they had a supplier there for their systems, and I specifically asked him about the maintenance agreement, and he said none of the other counties asked me for it. And he was...
And that's unfortunate, I mean, that's unfortunate.
So that's gonna be a point of emphasis to me to teach the new person who takes over my job, because with this, grants for like the smaller communities, there's gonna be more and more biofilters put in. And that will be a point of emphasis for whoever we get that, I train them on that question and the response to that question that they do get. So what I guess what I'm trying to get across, we do care.
Okay, this is Dan Berkman from the Board of Health. So the question is, obviously, I think that what started this was because the Board of Supervisors advertise the position. But you have to realize the funding actually comes from the Board of Supervisors, so that seems kind of, and I realize the Board of Health is responsible for the sanitarian, but in the end, the Board of Supervisors with their tax money are the ones that pay for the position. So I guess if we work together, is that okay? Or, I saw the email sent out by Diane. What do you say? Apparently that was what your beef was. And I guess from our board position, we didn't see a problem with that. Not that we are, what should I say? We're not, I know we're responsible, but the Board of Health is the one doing the funding for the position, or the Board of Supervisors. So what would you like us to do to?
There's nothing in the code that says we can't do it this way.
Okay, all right.
He just has to
Dr.
report.
Berkman, this is Diane, can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
So I was asked to join, I came in after the fact, and to send out the regulations that outline the roles and responsibilities of the boards of health, which I have done for years with all of the boards that I work with.
Right,
And
right.
that is that the Board of Health has a responsibility for public health and environmental health. And you currently have a subcontract with the hospital for the public health services, which the Board of Supervisors funds on your behalf.
Yep.
You also, via code, are responsible for environmental health, and that means supervising the hiring and the discharge of environmental health employees. And so it is the Board of Health's responsibility. It is not something you can delegate. And absolutely, you should work together with your boards of supervisors as they do provide the funding. But ultimately, that position reports to the Board of Health.
Right. And we do that.
Right, and I just wanted to clarify that in my email to you as a board, since I was not able to be at that meeting, just to make sure. And like I said, I was contacted by someone that saw the ad as well, so.
Could I ask who that was?
I want to maintain their privacy.
No, hold on a second here. The code says that they report to the Board of Health. There's nothing else in there about hiring or any of the rest of that. So
The Board of Health is responsible for the employment.
I read the code section. It doesn't say anything that we can't be the one to hire. They don't report to us. They report to the Board of Health. We're the ones that take care of payroll and everything else. The Board of Health doesn't do that.
Correct.
And we
They are a county employee that reports to the Board of Health.
That's what,
Board of Health
and that's what
should
we've been
be-
doing, so I don't understand what your concern is.
Per 137, the Board of Health shall employ persons as necessary for the efficient discharge of its duties.
You might want to read through that sanitarian section again. That's not how that works, but, whatever. We're in compliance with the code. Everything's being done correctly, so I don't understand what your concern is with this.
I don't have a concern.
Well, obviously you do, because we're having this conversation. Somebody had a concern. You had an anonymous complaint.
I am just telling you what Local Boards of Health, Chapter 137, 104, that is set forth by Iowa Code with the legislators and the governor states that the Board of Health shall employ persons as necessary for the efficient discharge of its duties. And by employing, they are a county employee, yes, but the Board of Health employs
And again, they report to the Board of Health. They don't report to us, so I don't understand what your concern is.
We're doing that, is what you're saying.
Yes.
The Board of Health does not place they had, the Board of Health wasn't aware of his resignation.
Yes, they were.
We were,
Yes, they were. Also, you guys don't have
When was the Board of Health informed? It wasn't in any of the meeting minutes.
Yeah, it
I'm
was.
sorry,
It's in the
we
draft
got
minutes from
that
last meeting.
corrected. We knew ahead of time.
Okay, so it was in the meeting minutes, and then which meeting was it?
The meeting we had last week was the formal,
Okay,
but we
so
knew it was coming down the pike. So Steve had told us here 3 months ago he was probably gonna resign, so.
Well, and I just wanted to make sure, that the Board of Health was aware, because I was at a meeting, not this past one, the one before that, and it wasn't at that meeting.
But that was how
And
many
then
months ago?
it's in the paper before your next meeting, so,
Diane, I'll probably take responsibility for that, but part of it, I felt it was more important to get the process started for the hiring and get the ad in the paper. The Board of Health would have to call a special meeting before everything could get rolling.
yeah.
And
Yes,
I
they
deal.
would have, and
You're
that's
right, okay.
part of their responsibility.
Okay, may I finish, please? Part of what's going on right now is the grants for people to replace their systems. And I have mailed out to the residents of May City who qualified, the residents of Allendorf who qualified for this grant program being available. And I knew, and then in time, I decided I was gonna retire from the job. I felt it was more important than that the process gets started without, I never gave thought, I'll admit that, to a special meeting, but it was more important for the process to get started to rehire for my position so that our residents of the county can benefit from this grant program. And that's always how I approached my job. It's about the residents of our county. Sometimes I'm gonna make missteps, maybe with interpretation of the rules. It's not intentional. But I'm here for the residents of our county and for the environment. That's how I feel about my job. So I apologize if things weren't done to the state's satisfaction with the health of the order of things. But I was looking at the ultimate goal, and that's the residents of our county.
And I appreciate all you have done, Steve. Absolutely.
All right, so we have things corrected now or not to your satisfaction, Diane? I guess,
I just following what code says, this is the Board of Health's responsibility.
And we
You should be involved in the process of hiring, selecting what services you want to provide for environmental health. If you want to employ, if you want to contract with somebody else, the Board of Health needs to be involved in the process, since it is outlined in code that it is their responsibility.
we will be.
But again, Dan, I think you guys have kind of overstepped with your comments and input with whether this is a full-time position, part-time position, and how that's ultimately determined to be set up. That you have no input according to the code on how any of that happens.
I don't think anybody has ever said it should be full-time or part-time.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns that I got in the email from the DNR, so, yeah, that discussion did come up, and I think you guys have severely overstepped your limits for what the code allows for your input on this process.
Did I send you an email?
Yes, there was an email that was sent out, or the discussion of whether this should have been full or part-time that I had with you when I talked to you here a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, no, there was certainly no intent that we thought that it should be full-time. It absolutely could be part-time. We just wanted to ensure that, however that played out, it was adequately covering to provide the services necessary. That's all that was.
And again, that's our job to make sure that those things are covered.
Yep.
This is Mindy, and I just have from a programmatic standpoint, just a question on grants to counties. Is Osceola County planning to continue, working with that program through fiscal year 2023? I'm assuming so, but I thought I'd ask since we have you on the line.
My recommendation as of now, depends who they hire, but I did bring it up to, I think, the Board of Health the other day, that we consider taking a moratorium on it, because that has somewhat at times been a frustration for me. So, I'd like the new person to get established with, the well plugging, the septic systems, and all that. And if they're wanted,
Training up to speed, yeah.
right, and with the training of that part of it, and if they wanna get involved with the grants to counties, ultimately, that's gonna be a Board of Health decision. But personally, with some of the frustrations I've had from time to time, and some of it's my own, because this job needs to get younger with the technology. But I'm thinking of a moratorium on it won't be that bad. We don't have all that many well pluggings, nor water tests, because as far as water tests go, I would say probably 90% of our counties on potable rural water system, one way or the other. So,
Okay.
that's ultimately, I'm gonna say it's up to the Board of Health.
Okay, and Steve, since you are you're the project director and the qualified staff listed on the contract, who should my point of contact be when we go to issue contracts so that we can check in with them?
We don't know.
Is there someone in the interim that will be, are you gonna be staying on until that person starts?
I'm
Is there gonna be
done.
overlap, or?
We don't know, I'm done at the end of the month.
So we'll either have to share with another county, if we don't have anybody hired by then.
Our county does have 28E agreements with other counties.
Okay. And then beyond that, once you leave, who should my point of contact be?
County Board of Health.
Right.
County Board of Health.
On the application? Okay. Okay.
Is there anything else from anybody else?
Nothing from DNR.
If not, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for taking time to talk to us today, appreciate it very much.
All right, thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. We need a little entertainment at these meetings.
Well, it's,
But Corey,
guy was talking in circles.
Corey.
Yeah. Talking on both sides of his mouth, it's like,
I gotta have that talk
you
away.
guys gotta push the
No,
buttons, you
The
know?
way it takes to me is we just didn't do quite the right steps. Is that what they're more here to?
I think that's more or
See, the
less.
resignation probably should have come to the Board of Health first.
But I wasn't here, or, well, I think it was,
I think you missed the
January,
last
I haven't decided yet. Didn't we get rid of, granted, you could call a special meeting, I'm not saying.
So you want us to just dump this whole mess in the County Board of Health slab and go, you guys take care of it? Is that what we're looking at? Because that's what they want.
Well, according to this, it sounds like we did everything right except the step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just in the backwards.
We messed the step.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't in the minutes for the Board of Health.
Right. And we didn't have a meeting, but I think you missed the meeting before that.
I could have been in Texas.
I think you were in Texas, so, you know, yeah, as I
Or,
recall.
no, I had something else going on. I wasn't
Yeah.
at the January meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Well, the way I understand that, we just continue on, try to get somebody hired.
Get somebody hired.
Because I think-
And then, if, you know, what was we had a resolution that we
It was carefully worded.
carefully worded to
Can you
basically.
hear us, Jason?
Yeah.
I can, sorry, I wasn't sure how much was left on the agenda, from calling back to internet.
Okay. Yeah, we're still talking the sanitary, and we just got off the call with the DNR.
What was the resolution we had at our Board of Health meeting that we wanted to work with or that the you know, we kind of,
You accepted my resignation.
we accepted your resignation, but we were going to work with the Board of Supervisors in the hiring of.
Yes.
I
Right?
got that up here, and then I did forward that to the board. The draft minutes state that Steve asked for approval for the resignation. His last day will be April 30, 2022. The Board of Health accepts Steve McFly's resignation and thanks him for his years of service. Osceola County Board of Health, 1, approves the Osceola County Sanitarian job description as presented by the Osceola County Board of Supervisors. 2, will support and assist the Osceola County Board of Supervisors' efforts to fill sanitarian position. That's the motion that was passed.
Yeah.
Has that been sent to Diane, Jay, because she was the one that was on.
Yeah, she's on the warpath.
I've got a question, okay, say if somebody applies and we like them, do we get you in on,
I think you know, some
Yeah.
representative.
Yeah.
Yeah, just,
in on the interview to,
you get somebody, it'd be like if you find somebody that's acceptable, we'll probably, we'll understand.
but do we get some of your representatives in on the interview?
Yeah. We were trying to avoid that. But,
Well, I know but for record,
yeah, I guess if you wanna call up, so one of us could.
well, it'll probably be on
Or
possibly
just,
next
if
month's
we
agenda.
just, you know, if you just pop the resume, so we go, yeah. Okay. I
That
mean, either
was-
way, I mean, if
that
I got
was-
time, I,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was Diane's major thing, I think.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
know.
procedure.
Who's this Diane?
She's the
Regional.
regional public health nurse, and doesn't have a whole lot of confidence.
Somebody had a fit about this.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanna know,
Yeah.
Somebody had a fit.
and
I got-
somebody with enough, that has looked up code and.
Yeah.
But here's the one thing I would say, Gary, I don't know if they found it this way or not, but the people that I know are doing the same job within our Northwest Iowa, I can't say this for sure, but I can see one of them, well, if that's what they think about our job, because maybe in hindsight, it could have been worded different, I don't know. You can always look in hindsight. But if that's all they think about the job, but they don't understand what I do. That's what drives me nuts. Come and talk to me.
Well, and the
I
only,
have this stuff ready to give to the DNR guys today.
But you
This
know-
is what we do.
the state doesn't get to dictate how we advertise this stuff.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but it just made for somebody to turn it in.
Yeah.
But,
And they didn't have the guts to show up in person.
yeah.
Well,
We got an anonymous complaint.
for one thing, I've had some reports of discharge where it should be. One I had a name to, one I didn't have a name to. If I don't have a name to it, how important is it?
Well, you can drive around on any of these back roads and see
Well, I know.
everybody's dumping in the ditch.
Well, and until the property changes hands, it's not gonna change.
Nope.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Thank both of you
Thanks,
guys
Dan.
very
I'm
much.
sorry,
Thank
guys.
you. Appreciate it.
I was a little hot.
I feel your pain there.
Well, I was gonna ask her, how much are you getting paid? And I said, you know, that was Dr. Coster's thing, it's like, us on the Board of Health, we're volunteers, we don't get paid.
Exactly.
Yeah, we,
Exactly.
Thanks for bringing that up, Dan. I did. He made that point that everyone on that call, I don't know who's all in the boardroom there, but almost everyone in the boardroom is being paid for the job that they're doing, except you, Dan. You're there as volunteer status.
and I lost money.
There, who everyone's pointing their finger at, you're responsible for this, you need to do. We're trying to work
Do you
with you,
need
we're
to?
trying to.
No,
Well, you know,
I was thinking about.
and then the thing is, I lost
moving
money
to
because I had to
the
turn down a
office.
couple
First,
calls
they
just
might
to
want
be
a
here,
laptop.
so.
They're not gonna be in our office.
Okay, well, but here's where we're gonna go with that. That laptop
Appreciate that,
downstairs
Jake.
is not that old.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
It works.
I appreciate it.
Here's the direction I envision the office for supply needs is, and it's up for discussion. But here's what direction I envision for the tech side of things in that office. One, I got a laptop down there that's not much more than a year old, maybe two, because it was purchased yet when we were dealing with Spencer. the new person, now if they're hired and live in Sibley, not an issue. But if they're hired and live out in the county, send the laptop home with them. But that being said, in that office at some time, I still think a desktop would be handy. And then in time, it should also be that a decent scanner is available somewhere that, whether it's purchased or whatever, so that all the files that I have down there that I've now been going through, because I get a call, do you have records for such and such a place? You know how it works.
Yep.
So my thought is them files need to be scanned into the computer system. And then if this person lives in Ocheeden, Melvin, whatever, they got the laptop, they got access to them files without running back to town.
And I think Rochelle was gonna hire someone just to scan stuff. We could have them do that too.
Right, which you could. Yeah, somebody smarter than me is gonna have to create the files on the computer. But I think it'd also be beneficial to have the system on a computer in the office. That's my call,
Yep.
ultimately.
No, and it would be easier just to have a stationary workstation in there, so
Right.
you're not having to cart that laptop back and forth.
The one thing I would challenge a little bit is to get Darren in, and I don't know what you guys are paying for speed, but at times it's a problem down there. And if you're paying for something that's supposed to have a certain speed and aren't getting it, you're getting ripped off.
That's why we're doing this computer, because they said your old computer didn't have.
Well, they say it's part of that.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. They said this new computer that we didn't have.
That's what they tell us, you know.
Of course they do.
But I just want to say, if you do get a new computer, I would also ask when it's for them, when they come here to install, can you check the speed for us? And would you allow, I tried to check the speed on it one time, and Premier site wouldn't allow me to check it.
So your
I could
preference,
check it at home on my own, but it wouldn't allow me here.
your preference then would be for a desktop, right?
Quick question though. So what happens if we end up with somebody outside of the county? Or will that be?
I was just gonna say, is that something we should just wait and see who we get hired?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care, I mean.
No, that was actually a thought of mine, I mean.
Or do we, if nobody applies, then you're gonna.
If nobody applies, then,
We
you
gotta
know,
share.
obviously, if we gotta share, they're gonna have to report to you as well.
Mhm.
I think, Dan, there's one person that called late yesterday, and if it's the same person, there's gonna have to be some discussion held
Yes.
on everything, and whether, because there's some conditions with that person,
Yep.
Okay,
so.
I agree.
well.
So we probably would need a person from the board of
Okay.
health. When we get down to that level.
Probably, yes.
That's not saying it's gotta be you, Dan.
Yeah.
Anybody
No,
you wanna
that's
send
fine.
over.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I only had a half hour's worth of lead time on it. Just let me know.
Well, we could, if it, you know, if we get, like, somebody apply on next month's, next agenda.
Okay,
So you know.
yeah, let me know and
Yep.
that you're expecting me here, and I'll be happy to.
Or whoever wants to come.
All right.
You guys can
Sounds
draw
good.
straws or,
But
you know.
for information, Stephanie has had trouble with speed in her office too.
We'll see you
so-
guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Okay.
So that's where I would say, if,
It's an issue down there.
and it might not be, and it's not all times.
Well, it's probably because we got too many people next door
Well,
watching
that could be.
Netflix and stuff.
But
so everyone's trying to work.
I guess the one request I would make if they get a desktop, that the person who wants to operate that can check the speed. I mean, I went to theirs, if you're paying for that, you should have it, that's what I'm saying.
So do you want us to approve a desktop today, or do you want us to wait?
It's up to you guys.
Because if we get it this year, we have $500, right, that we can apply towards that.
Correct.
Then we probably better get it this year.
Make a motion to get it.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to get a new computer for the cemetery and a support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Same sign, motion carried.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep,
So the sanitary.
Have a good day.
Applicants, what do we
I
do?
feel better.
Tabling tabling the
We're gonna have to-
hearing applicants?
We don't have any applications yet, so we're
Yeah,
gonna
well,
have to
I get
table
one
that
today.
discussion till
Okay.
next meeting.
Alright.
Then, I guess if we do get an applicant, we may have to negotiate on salary and something in there on that as well, so.
So just, since I get that, if I get applications, then we'll.
Then we can
we'll-
negotiate on what their thought process is for anybody that's
Do you think
submitted.
the issue was, no offense, I don't even know, did you do this, Rashad, the application?
It was the same,
Same one.
same like we did when we hired
I mean,
Steve.
maybe not put part-time sporadic, no benefits, if that would've been left out.
I think.
I don't know,
I think the problem was is he told us before he told her.
I agree, but I just wonder if the person that got upset about it was.
No, I think it was just that they weren't told first.
Alright.
That they had a hard.
Okay, let's move on, we'll approve family farm applications.
It's just, this is a formality. They assigned it, or they, on the assessor's recommendation.
Is mine?
There's only new ones.
Oh, wow.
Once you have it, you have it.
You have it.
Yeah, it's just, if there's a sale of property, then they have to reapply again.
Those are even off that.
I'm glad it's a good code guy.
Kendall's in here.
Yeah, so I gotta. Abstain.
I don't know.
If somebody wants to get pricky about it.
Yeah, probably is.
As far as I know, there's nobody in there tonight.
What's that?
As far as I know, there's nobody in there tonight.
I wonder if Kendall's.
I don't have any relatives here, so I'm going. I'd make a motion on the farm applications.
We have a motion to approve farm family applications,
Support.
and support. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I will abstain. Is Jason still on, or is he gone?
Jason, are you still, can you hear us?
I just didn't have you that time, bye.
Okay. Consider award bids for shades in the courthouse. Fine, huh?
It's been a long process. I don't know, this is the Hunter Douglas one. And I think this is one of the quotes. We got two bids for Hunter Douglas, from Diamond Bogo and from Northwest Decor. And then this is one similar shade, it's just an electric one from Troy Mineral. We're going, first I initially thought the 5%, but we put this up against the window and it did not block the sun from glaring the computer, so we're going with the 3%. He said that would help, that's another problem. So, what?
3% is carpet?
Yeah. And then, so these are the shades, and then they'll have a beaded cord. Both companies will have a beaded cord like this. So, I didn't get any feedback from any of the department heads, they're probably just more worried about the color once we pick a company.
That's with the lamps on top?
Yeah, but I got it for both, without the lamp and with.
So what was your preference here?
I don't really have a preference.
What was the-
Either one
What was the
would
low
work.
bid?
Diamond Bogo is the low bid.
$2,100 to take it out of the country, out of the county and team.
Troy Winkle, yeah. Yeah, it was like 2,100, I said yesterday, a little bit more.
Yeah, but yet is it fair? Why do we ask for a nickel?
Aye.
$2,000 is still $2,000.
And
is the,
And that's out of Ashland.
That's, the 17, that is without the fascia. That's like that, like there. If you did the fascia, then it's the 20,000, that's, you know, have the covering over it.
That's just the top.
The top part, yes.
But Diamond Road was 17 with the fascia.
With,
Am I messing up? Oh, there it is.
Well, they're continuously
Oh,
confusing.
gotcha.
So what, Diamond Vogel's, that first one, that 15,905.88, that's without that top treatment. So it'd be like what we got right now. And then with the fascia, you know, the fascia is this part right here. It covers the face. That's that 17,843.71 quote. With, AB windows, you know, they first quoted us with 83 windows, and I don't know where the 83 came from, they couldn't tell me. So that's why it's that, we did it both other companies came up with 81 windows. So that's that 19,440, and then to go down to the 3% screen shade, we had to add another $800 to it.
So is that 3% screen shade thing already figured in?
That's that $800, yeah,
that's on the first one?
yeah.
what is the first thing, AB's two, I'm still confused.
Well, one of
Fascia
them,
and
the
no
first one
fascia.
is with fascia, and the second one is without fascia. The 17,729 without fascia, and the 20,000, yeah, 20,240 is with fascia. And there's a little price increase when we went to the 3% screen shade versus
And
the
the warranty is the same on both.
Yep, same
Yeah.
brand.
The same brand. I think Brandon said the warranty, when I asked about that, he said Graber offers a 3-year warranty on the blinds, but we extend the warranty on all mechanical pieces of the blinds to 5 years. We don't have any issues with these.
That sounds great.
That's with Troy Winkle's bid, and then Volvo Paints is, you know, a lifetime. And
But here, this one doesn't, shows it on the back.
it's on the back, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to think of it.
Okay.
And then Jim's bid, Northwest Accord, you know, has all that warranty and stuff on it, so. You know, they're all good companies, just, I think they all would be fine, it's just.
I'd make a motion on the low bid.
Logo thing and glass?
Yeah.
We have a motion on the low bid,
Cause
with a Volvo paint and glass.
we're still paying into that school district through Ashton anyway.
I'll ask again, I have a motion.
I would support that.
And support, we have a motion and support to go with Vogel paint and glass. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Jason, there,
Jason, we're voting on Vogel paint and glass, are you a yay or nay, or abstain, or
With or without the fascia,
With.
with the fascia?
okay? Aye.
motion carries. Discuss court office remodel.
Okay, they're getting closer, the
How much
Electrician
extra
is in.
is this gonna cost?
we don't know that. I have not gotten that. The state, Angie came up to me a couple days ago and asking, they're getting new desks, and they have to have a couple new plug-ins put into these desks to operate, because they're getting 4 desks instead of the 2. And the state was wondering if the county was gonna pay for that, or if the state should pay for that.
Each bid for that.
I don't know how, 2 plug-ins, I'm not for sure how much it's gonna cost, but
Cause you're gonna have to run them on the floor, right?
I thought Ernie put up in the ceiling.
Or up in the ceiling and then come down with a piece of conduit.
I think that's how it's.
Right, if you want special desks that need plug-ins, I think the state
And then another thing, the tiles in there, you know, they had thought maybe we could redo the ceiling, but we can't because it's too much involved. I would hire more of an electrician and the air and plumbing would have to come. But if we just got new tiles, Ernie said he could replace that himself. He priced it at Sneff Lumber and it'd be $691.20 for new tiles in that office.
Is that a drop ceiling?
Yeah.
It's a drop ceiling. I mean, they found old carpet squares up there, that's why, part of it why it was drooping. They found a lot of stuff up there when they started.
So it was storage for somebody, they
I-
just kept throwing everything
Yeah,
up?
I didn't even know the old carpet, it wasn't even, old carpet, I didn't even know.
Insulation.
Yeah, I guess, or sound control, I don't know.
We could've used that in here.
I know. So, those are just a couple things I had asked the board, what direction you wanted us to go with, so.
Need a motion for that or not?
Do you wanna replace the ceiling on there?
With as much as we spent down there, what's another $600? Then it's all new.
Be good to get it.
And Ernie will do it.
Yeah.
So let the state pay for their new electric plug-ins and
Yeah.
stuff. We'll throw in some tile to sweeten the deal.
Okay.
You don't need a motion for that, do you?
We probably should just go if I have it.
Have a motion and second to do those extra things at the clerk's office. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Set fiscal year 2021 budget amendment and public hearing date.
How about February 26th, or April 26th?
Like January.
April 26th at 9 o'clock, how does that sound? I can't wait till May, I thought I could wait till May, but I can't.
We can't get another meeting in March?
No.
Shut up.
We could.
Yes, we actually could, Jason.
I'll make a motion on motion for Michelle's recommendation today.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second to set the public hearing date for what was the name?
April 26th.
April 26th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I can't believe there's not another agenda on that.
You guys got any other
Nope.
reports? Nope. Anything going on?
No, we'll have something for you next meeting after we talk about your rescue funds here, about 500.
Okay. If not,
I'll second that.
yeah, that was a motion to adjourn. I have a motion and a support to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you, Jason.